Welcome to Torah Smash, the podcast for nerdy Jews, where our lives of Jewish learning collide with our love of nerd culture. In each episode, we discuss what we lovingly call a Torah Smash, which we have defined as a beautiful collision of one thing from the world of Judaism with another from nerd culture. I am RDY, and joining me today are
Barack Malkin,
Ethan Lane Miller.
I am very excited for this particular Smash. I've been thinking about it for quite some time, and I wanted to hold it until this particular recording because this episode comes out the day after Rosh Hashanah. So, as dear listener, you are listening, we are very likely in the middle of what is known as Aseret Yemei Teshuva, the 10 days of repentance. This is a time when we are supposed to be focused on how to do what is called Teshuva or repentance. And this is done usually through stages. The first stage is to acknowledge and admit that you've done a wrong, or technically it's to realize that you've done something wrong. Once you've acknowledged that you have made a mistake, you need to apologize genuinely to the person that you've affected or people you've affected, if there are people you've affected. And then you need to make any reparations that are required. And then you need to be forgiven, which is an interesting point because then some of Teshuva, some of the repentance process is in the hands of someone else if you've done them wrong. And then, given the opportunity to make the same mistake, you have to make a different choice. So the true completion of Teshuva is done when a person has changed their nature, has changed their habit, has changed their reaction to a thing. And that takes a lot of time sometimes, but it's also in the nature of the word itself. Teshuva comes from the root word shuv, which means turn. Lashuv is to turn. So you are turning away from the way you were and turning into the person you would like to be. So that idea of really changing and changing really for the positive is what this particular smash is about. So what is the nerd culture thing I would like to smash with Teshuva?
Can you give us some more direction? Movie, TV show?
Oh, I
book?
can take a swing.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I got a few things lined up. My first thought is time travel, getting to repeat and have another attempt at handling a situation.
I love it, but we've done it.
Okay. Well, my thought was time travel, the idea of going back and getting other. Oh,
I love it, but we've done it.
okay. My second thought was Star Wars and Darth Vader.
Ooh, okay. Not where I was going, but I like it.
Okay. I could also go with video games, but we've also done that.
True.
Well, we've also done Teshuva before, but here we are.
Yeah, that's true too. I was thinking more specifically of movies of nerddom.
Classic or current?
Current.
Is it the transition of the DC universes and getting another chance to do over and try things again?
Wow, I wish.
I haven't seen a bunch of movies where people are like, I haven't been to the theater a whole lot recently, and so
It's not super recent. It's springtime.
from the past spring. Oh, I haven't seen it yet. Is this Wicked?
No,
But I think the part 2 would be changing for the better. So you gotta.
that's true.
Yeah,
Change for good.
yeah.
Today, I want to look at the movie Captain America: Brave New World.
Oh,
Nice. Did we not do this one?
We did not.
Oh, after Sabra, we did Sabra ahead of time.
We did Sabra ahead of time, and we were aware that this movie was coming out, but then we held off on doing this movie, and the reason I held off is because I wanted to wait until this calendar date.
I know I didn't do it. I listed this under terrible movies. It was part of my batch of terrible movies in episode 85.
I understand,
Yeah.
and I don't disagree.
I'm happy to dive into the things I disliked. So let's do this thing.
I think you've already told us some of the things you've disliked about this movie, as have I.
Yeah.
And I wanted to focus on the character arcs with the kindness in our hearts as podcasters and creators of content to give them the benefit of the doubt and analyze the intended rather than
Man, I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
I know. We're asking for your kindness, Barack.
I'm gonna try. I'm gonna try.
So the whole movie really centers around one idea. And that idea is connected to what I think is pretty interesting that they've finally given Thunderbolt Ross a main role in a film instead of just being a B-level villain. In the other Hulk movies, Ross was chasing after the Incredible Hulk, and he wasn't always the villain, but he was one of the villains and helping out the villains or behind the villains.
Right, or just this like
Always
B line. He was a B story villain. He wasn't the A line
correct.
villain. Yeah.
Yeah, B story villain. But now in Brave New World, he's a main character. He's president. He's trying to get the United States to work together. That's his campaign slogan. That's the big word that's on the screen when you first see him when the movie opens. Also, when the movie opens, it does a negative of the Marvel logo instead of the regular Marvel logo, which to me implies that we're going to see a flip here. Something is going to be different, backwards, not what we're used to. And I think that Thaddeus Ross was actually the main character of this movie, not Captain America, but General Ross. Because the theme to me behind the movie is the idea, can Ross change? Can he change from this bad guy who's like the Ahab to the Incredible Hulk's Moby Dick? Or can he be the guy who reconciles with his daughter and brings America together and is able to be the better person, the better version of himself? Can he make Teshuva?
I like that.
Yeah,
Ethan, have you seen the movie?
The joke is this is one last twist of the knife for Barack. Yes, we saw the movie together.
Oh, you and I. Oh my gosh, I forgot.
Oh no! Oh,
Oh,
I
is
thought
that
this was.
just
I thought this was making fun of Barack. No, I sat next to
Yeah.
you.
Wow,
Yep,
you
sat
guys
next
just
to
hung
me.
out
We
so
saw it.
much you
And we
forgot what
talked
you
about
did.
Leader afterwards.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, we saw it at Alamo Draft House. Oh, that's
At least one of us did. I don't know. Maybe maybe you weren't there.
that's a fun place to see movies. I miss that place.
I do agree that Thaddeus Ross was definitely a top billing. I don't know if I'd say he was the main character, only because this movie felt like a not murder mystery, like a detective movie
Yeah.
where Captain America is doing the hunting of what's going on, and the person who's being perpetrated is the main secondary character, right? Sherlock,
Yeah.
it's always a Sherlock Holmes movie, right? Not the
I wouldn't call it a detective movie so much as like a conspiracy movie.
sure
Yeah.
conspiracy,
You know,
sure.
like what was the movie with the Queen of Spades where like they saw the card and that
Alice in Wonderland.
where the guys from the military would see the Queen of Spades and they would be mind controlled into doing something. And I think also in the MCU, it's a parallel to the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Had a lot of the same plot points, a lot of reversals of like, you know, one of the big reversals was at the end of the movie, you know, this is the Marvel logo going in negative. At the end of the movie, Harrison Ford's Thaddeus Ross is inside the prison in the raft, and Sam Wilson is visiting the prison, which is the opposite from what happened in, was it Civil War, when the Marvel heroes were prisoners in the raft?
Yeah.
I will say, I don't know that I saw him as a villain. I definitely saw him as a tragic character, but I never really saw him as. I think this is one of the ones that I felt explored the difference between an antagonist and a villain.
Yeah, nice. And Leader was the villain and the antagonist, whereas Thaddeus Ross is really the victim of the villainy and the tool used by
Yeah,
the
Pawn.
villain. And you know, there are lots of moments in this film where someone changes. And there are moments in the film where people pine that they're not different and have to be convinced that they're great the way they are. And that's the two sides of this coin of Teshuva, because sometimes we have to forgive ourselves. There's a moment where Torres, who's the Falcon, I love this version of the Falcon, by the way. In the comic books, Falcon like had actual wings because of blood experiments and all kinds of weirdness. I think that Torres just going from being the guy in the chair to picking up the old wings and being able to fix them, I liked that origin story much better. So when Torres takes down the missile and ends up injuring himself and ends up in the hospital bed, and he apologizes to Sam Wilson saying, I'm sorry that I wasn't able to do better and be more like you. He's like, no, you were great. You were exactly the you we needed you to be. It's the other side of Teshuva. Forgive yourself. Do you
Yeah, I like that.
have other points in the movie that you see characters changing in?
Well, there's the very obvious of like Sam Wilson is Captain America, but he further steps into being Captain America. Now it's not Teshuva, but it is making changes. It is him becoming himself.
Yeah, and I would say the Captain America character went through a lot of teshuva, a lot of change in the eye of the public, I would argue. And this hits me particularly as an interim rabbi because my role is to help people understand that it's okay to change from the role of rabbi to the role of rabbi, where it's still someone doing the same thing and caring about the community in the same way. So I feel like the John Walker character from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, he was kind of like the interim Captain America. And he allowed the public to go from Steve Rogers to Sam Wilson. Sam Wilson is the Captain America the world needs now. He's the Captain America that's changed for maybe not the better in certain ways, but in certain ways he is better. Captain America, Steve Rogers, can't fly. Sam Wilson decided not to take the super soldier serum because he wanted to be different. He wanted to be more himself. And that change, I think, can be seen as a positive change. It means his fighting style is different, even when he does things that are very similar. But that, like, flinging the shield in midair to intercept the missiles and watching it ricochet off the way the shield ricochets off of bad guys in Captain America the First Avenger, I found very satisfying.
I think another good example would be Isaiah Bradley, who
Nice.
previously had stayed pretty shut in and wanted to ignore his past and his issues. And not that he had to do teshuva, but there is sort of like a self-acceptance of that he had to do. And I think he's sort of an opposite side of this if we're talking about like reversals in terms of he came to terms and is now willing to train another hero and step into that realm, and then doing so sort of puts him at risk of being mind controlled as he was. And so he got arrested for stepping out of his hidden world, and doing so put him at risk. And so he's sort of
Yeah.
an opposite side.
Yes to everything, and I loved the Isaiah Bradley story and the implications of it. Like that is, I liked that a lot.
Loved it. And I loved all of the posters of Black athletes in the background, including Jackie Robinson and ones that I don't recognize because I'm not a sports guy. And the switch for Isaiah, I think, is that when it comes to tshuva, the United States government needs to make tshuva to Bradley. They owe him an apology. They owe him a change, which Sabra almost offers him when she hands him his fresh suit. I would say, though, the suit is symbolic of Isaiah Bradley focused on the past because that's
Yeah.
the suit that he was married in. In Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Isaiah Bradley mentions that his wife died while he was in prison and that the US government never let him read any of her letters that she wrote to him. So I see that moment of Sabra handing him the jacket and being almost apologizing on behalf of the government she works for to say, like, we want to reconcile what you missed out on with your wife.
It would have been nice. And I don't know you can correct me if I misremember. I feel like the government invited Isaiah Bradley in a kind gesture, and it just so happened that the leader took advantage of that, right? The leader isn't the one who invited him and took advantage. The government actually invited Isaiah Bradley.
It was actually Sam Wilson who invited Isaiah Bradley. He forced the hand of
Oh, I'd only go if Isaiah Kingham, is that what it was? Okay,
exactly.
that's nice.
And this was leader calculating the probability of this happening. And even though he was right about Isaiah Bradley in particular being present to be susceptible to the mind control, there were what, 7, 8 other agents who were
Yeah,
also under mind control at that moment.
right.
And in the lab, he had maybe 20, 30 pictures of agents that he had access to their brainwaves and stuff. So to me, that says, yes, he's aware of the probability, but he is increasing the probability by making more people susceptible to the mind control and having more people in the room at the time. So it's like a bigger pool increases the odds.
Yeah.
I want to talk also about apologizing in general. Like there are ways to apologize and ways to not apologize. One of the things that we tell our children to do is like, go say you're sorry, which is a little bit of a waste.
Ooh, my kids say, I'm sorry, and how can I help?
Great. Yeah, that's a much better way to do it. If you just have to say you're sorry, then you think that that's it.
I
And
have a
it's also forced.
Yeah.
I have a great story of a child who apologized for something. She and some friends, took some things they weren't supposed to take. So she wrote an apology card that said, "I'm sorry, my friends took those things."
I like that. That's a perfect example of a non-apology. You
Hmm.
know, the
Yes,
classic example of a non-apology is I'm sorry if you were offended.
I'm sorry you feel that way.
Yeah, that's not an apology. An apology is I'm sorry I did it, name the action, name the repercussion if necessary, and name what you are going to do to not do it again.
Yeah, I think Thaddeus Ross does this when he
Yes.
gets to talk with Betty again, which was a nice surprise. And Liv Tyler was the voice for the What If in season 2 when they did a Hulk episode.
Yeah.
But it was nice that she showed up as sort of another connecting piece to that Hulk movie.
Hmm.
But he did that apology correctly when he was trying to talk to her about how he's going to change.
And when he leaves the message for her, he says, I know I've made a lot of mistakes, but I'm trying to change.
Yeah.
And he says, he invites her to go for a walk in the cherry blossoms. And she actually says that would be nice, even though the last time she was in a Hulk movie, she says, You're not my father anymore. You're not allowed to contact me.
Yeah.
He does say, I love you. And she says, Goodbye, Dad. She doesn't say, I love you back.
Mm.
But that's,
Well,
I
I'm
think
sure it's
that's,
rough. Yeah.
yeah, I think that's good. I think it's more real that way. Like she needs a little more time.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, Sam says to Ross when he's in Red Hulk form, I might be crazy, but I think you're trying to change. Now prove it to the world, prove it to Betty. And that's the moment he changes back into Ross. No matter what the world throws at us, we are in control of ourselves, no matter how the world tries to change us. And in jail, he says he took full responsibility for his actions, gave up his office, accepted his sentence. And Ross asks Sam why he's there visiting if they're on different sides of this thing. And Sam says, if we can't see the good in each other, we've already lost the fight.
Can you remind me? Because I don't remember all of it. The final battle, is that how the Hulk transforms? I remember like the Hulk rips off the Falcon's wings and there's like a pretty large hit and an explosion. Is that how the Red Hulk is defeated? I do not remember.
The Red Hulk is defeated when Sam talks him down.
Is that what it was?
He gets his Wakandan wing. The Hulk rips one wing
Yeah.
off,
Yeah.
and Sam blocks a Hulk punch with the other wing, and it's built up with the Wakandan energy. And the Hulk does a charging, like jumping punch, and Sam ducks under it, stabs him with the wing, and then sets off the energy blast
Yeah.
all at the same time. And that moment knocks out both the Hulk and Sam. And it reminds me of a line near the beginning of the movie. It doesn't matter how the fight goes. It only matters like what the last hit is, something like that. You
Mm,
like you're only the whole fight is decided by the last hit. There's some sort of line like that
mm.
when Sam and
Oh,
Isaiah are sparring. And so that's the last hit. And it stuns the Hulk enough to get Sam to be able to talk to him, but it's the talking that makes him change.
yeah, I did like that because that is a major difference between Sam and Steve Rogers, is that Steve Rogers was a soldier. He was wanting to be in the war and to fight. Whereas, and while Sam was a veteran, he took on the role of, for his career, was doing, support.
He's a counselor.
He's a
Yeah.
counselor, right? And so the fact that he took that over and utilized that skill, and I think, right, Steve Rogers took that on during Endgame.
Briefly, yeah.
Yeah, but it wasn't his world.
No.
And it is
And
Sam
in the
Wilson's
comic
world.
books, Sam Wilson was not a soldier. He was a grief counselor.
Right. And so I liked that aspect, that was true to his form, that he sort of took on the role of, it's, sun's getting really low.
Hmm.
So I did like that. It was also very disappointing of how short this built up fight scene with the Red Hulk was, when like the Red Hulk was promoted across the board as the main villain for this film, and he didn't show up until like for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, you don't show the monster.
But he was, I wish they were promote. I don't know. I don't know what they would have done, because the leader is sort of a secret villain until about halfway through.
Right.
But the Red Hulk also doesn't appear until the last part of the movie.
Yeah, but
I would have wanted, I know that he's struggling. I would have wanted maybe like a werewolf situation where like maybe there's one or two scenes where he had lost control throughout there. During the daytime he controls it, but maybe he dreams, his nightmares turn him into one. Like, I wanted something else, that there's this tension build of the damage that the Red Hulk can cause, as opposed to this person who's trying to just fully in that realm of like not wanting to be it. I don't know.
I am taking it as it was, and I'm going to chalk this up as another instance of Barack can write the movie better than the other guy.
That's fine.
I'd go see that.
I think that makes
Barack's
more
movie, I
sense.
would too.
This movie had a lot of stuff that bothered me. I'm not saying I could write it better. I'm just saying they made some poor choices.
Sure. And I guess that's to my question that I had written down, how should he have changed? And so you would rather have seen him fighting it again and again and again?
Yeah, he was taking medication, which he thought was calming his heart, which in the long run was giving him gamma poisoning. And so I totally feel that. But I think I would have wanted, as I said, like, I think a werewolf situation. He doesn't realize it because he has a bad dream, and he has a Red Hulk excursion, and then wakes up somewhere unknown, sort of thing, and has to come back as the president. And he makes these moments of weird bits of memory that are missing, kind of thing. And then during the daytime, while he's conscious, it's super struggling with it, but his body has already given in, right?
Yeah, you wanted a longer movie.
I just wanted a different arc for him, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. I get that they can't do it all in one movie.
Yeah, I know.
And I think that there are elements of that that are great. And I'm trying to see this as the movie that they intended rather than the movie they created, perhaps.
Oh, I got another good one. We have the Red Hulk werewolf movie, right? And therefore, Ruth Bat Saraf is also there to hunt the Red Hulk, and not just this weird Black Widow turned American security for the president, which is seemingly out of left field for American security, of like just taking on a recent Black Widow operative as their main head, is off to me. But if she was there also hunting the Red Hulk, not realizing, and like she would have discovered through her knowledge that the Red Hulk is the president. This movie writes itself. It
Sure.
didn't. It didn't in this case, but it should have.
Also, keep in mind that her being a Black Widow operative was a rewrite.
Yes. Oh, I know that. Absolutely.
So they had shot most of the movie before they did that rewrite. And as I pointed out the last time we talked about this, when we talked about them nerfing her, the quills
Yeah.
that there's a solo shot of Sam Wilson kind of something coming out from under his wings, and then you see these blue and white quills sticking out of her, which don't quite match his vibe or anything else he's ever used against any character ever. And I think those quills were actually from her in the original shots, and
Oh, interesting.
that they took her out of the movie, and therefore they made up that those quills came from him.
I would love, this is another one I'd love to see the deleted scenes.
Yeah, me too. This is one of those changes that I don't think was a positive change
Yeah.
for the movie or for the character. I mean,
When
Sabra's
I,
great.
I just want to say when we're done with this, I have my own version of the movie that was The Rise of Skywalker that I'd love to walk you through.
I hope we get to the point where you say that Marvel has to do Teshuva for this film.
I think you just did. There's a moment where Ruth Batsaroff says, "None of us needs to be defined by our past." And there are certainly moments for all of us in our past that we would hope do not define us, even or maybe especially a past reputation. So, tshuva means change, and the process acknowledges that we all have the ability to change. But there's always residue from our past, like feathers in the story of the man who goes and rips the pillow up on top of the hill. But that doesn't mean that just because there are feathers left over, we should not use the tool of teshuva to make things better in our future, to make ourselves better for our future. So, are there other moments of nerddom where you think people have like made a serious change in their reputation besides Red Hulk calming down, besides Sam Wilson kind of taking on the mantle of Captain America? Are there other moments like this?
I'm going to push us and not pick folks like maybe Darth Vader who have a like last second redemption or like they're redeemed at the end of the movie and then they die.
Oh, cool. So characters who make a redeeming change and then maintain that change for the rest of their character arc.
Yeah.
I love that.
I was going to say the Cobra Kai characters, but we already talked about that in the last Teshuva one.
Yep. Maybe the Ghostbuster characters when in the new movies when they convince the grown-ups to fight ghosts with them.
I haven't seen the newest one, the Frozen one. Is that the one you're referencing?
Yeah,
I haven't seen that one yet.
it's fine.
I
It's cute.
think there's plenty. I'm sure there's plenty of sequels where the villain from the first has an arc change at the end and becomes the support for the second movie, right? But like in Toy Story 2, Zurg, right, becomes like the best friend dad and has this change from villain in the first one. I don't know if this counts, but
Sure.
Yeah.
Ethan, how about you?
I've been thinking, because I'm in the middle of a rewatch of Star Trek Enterprise, which I've not seen in a very long time. And it has aged much better than I thought it had. But there are a few characters who go from antagonist to ally. And I think of Saval, actually. He's the Vulcan ambassador to Earth, who starts out very, very against humanity. And by the end of the series, actually breaks rules on planet Vulcan to help the humans out.
Well, all right.
I've got a great one. Loki, at least in the MCU.
Oh, that's a good one.
Good call. I would say the characters that seem to change and maintain their change, but not necessarily in a good way. They change maybe for the bad. At the end of the fourth John Wick, all of these characters who he's fighting are like his old friends. So especially the blind guy Kane, where they clearly used to be friends, and instead of maintaining their friendship, they try to kill each other.
I have some more. I don't know if they
Yeah.
all count. Severus Snape. That one.
I think you could make a play. I think the thing with Snape is that he's actually really on Harry's side from the well, maybe not on Harry's side, but that he's been supporting Dumbledore the entire time and he's a double agent.
Yeah.
I think that's a little different.
Yeah, that's true.
His change came before the book started.
Gru from Despicable Me.
Nice.
Yeah, good one.
100% there. Ralph from Wreck-It Ralph.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
Being bad is good. No, I don't remember the slogan of their meeting.
I don't remember the slogan either, but yeah, that's a great one. And he actually helps Princess Penelope. Is that her name?
Vanellope.
Vanellope.
Yeah.
He helps Princess Vanellope become her true self and make her positive changes.
Yeah.
So that would have been a great movie for this too. Anything else? Other thoughts?
It was in a great movie.
I know it wasn't a great movie,
No, it was not.
but at
It
least it
was it
didn't have
was
any CGI babies being held up or saved over
Yeah, sure.
lava or in the sky or
I
something.
don't know if I said this in the terrible movie episode. There was one part of the movie that really irked me where the leader was taking over this like encampment, this military encampment, and he gets one guy down and he says something like, "I'm in charge, and do you know what that makes me?" And I said to my friend next to me, my good friend Jason, I said out loud, "The leader." And in the movie, he says, "The hero." And I was like, "What?
Right,
You have
right.
such an opportunity there to like name drop yourself in Nick Harry." No, at no point does he call himself the leader, but I understand this twist of he views himself as the hero, but saying the one in charge, the one who's in control, whatever that is the leader,
Yeah.
not a hero.
I remember you ranting about this.
Sorry, such
No,
a
that's
bad
okay.
line.
Um,
Yeah,
yeah, it was just a one-on-one scene
yeah.
where he was about to murder
Oh,
Sam Wilson's buddy.
that was terrible.
Yeah, that was
hmm.
awful. I will say the symbolism of cherry blossoms was something that I had to look up. And I found out that I figured it would be some sort of a symbol because they were so front and center throughout the movie. Like you mentioned, walking with the cherry blossoms. The Japanese ambassador has a cherry blossom in the background. The grave of Thaddeus's wife is flanked by cherry blossoms, and then of course the end scene is in the famous point where people can walk among the cherry blossoms in DC, which was a gift from the Japanese. So cherry blossoms in Japanese culture symbolize the beautiful but fleeting nature of life, renewal, and new beginnings because they have a very short blooming period. And in some ways, it can symbolize life and death, which is its own cycle of renewal and change. So having cherry blossoms all over the place was, in and of itself, another marker of the change that this movie is trying to represent.
I like that.
Yeah, not a nerdy connection, but a cultural one.
Yeah.
Well, as we go through our High Holy Days, our Aseret Yemei Shuvah, our 10 days of repentance, may we try to remember that change is not some daunting, superheroic task. It's the responsibility that we each have to make the positive changes in ourselves to make this year a better year for each other.
Amen.
Shana Tova.
Shana Tova.
That'll do it for this episode of Torah Smash. Our fiscal sponsor is Jewish Creativity International. Our theme music was created by Sean Fogel. You can check out Sean's bands and studio work at www.thesleepywest.com. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to rate and review us wherever you listen. Remember to smash on those 5 stars. It helps others find us and is an excellent way to support the podcast. We want to hear from you and continue today's nerdy discussion. Go to torasmash.com to find where to connect with us online, purchase swag from our store, support us with a donation, find previous episodes, and more. And why doesn't the Hulk celebrate Yom Kippur? Because you wouldn't like him when he's hangry.
And whenever you're ready, take it away.
I got a few swings lined up. Did you hear my spoon
did.
clink? Okay.
I heard you
again.
I thought it was a tick reference. Okay, I'm going to start the whole thing over.
Thank you.
Sorry for your editing.
Also Teshuva taking another chance at it.
That's right.
So maybe this stays in. I don't know.
I have one more bad guy turned good. Mongo from Blazing Saddles.